Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast. My name is Yaara Eliya. I am a spiritual healer and an inner peacemaker. I guide and support women through their own self-healing journey and on their way of creating a happier, safer, more loving inner space, inner world for them to live in. And in this podcast, we talk about healing yourself in a happy way. So diving into your happy healing, to the happier version of yourself, to the part in your life where you are eager and happy to be alive. That doesn't mean that we don't talk about the pain and the struggle, and we actually do talk about that, and we have a lot of practices. But I really want to always encourage us to remember the happy part of healing and not just waddle in the pain, not just sit in the darkness of our misery, but actually to be active in our healing, to be the leaders of our own healing, and in creating a new inner space for ourselves. That to me, what healing is about. Healing is becoming so close with our inner world, becoming so deep and connected with our inner world that we are playing with it, that we are creating it, that we are like the masters of our inner world. And then when we do that, when we are in that connection with ourselves, we get to be really active in choosing what our inner space looks like. We get to be very active in choosing what kind of mental talk, what kind of thoughts, what kind of emotions. And if not choosing them, then at least being so closely intimate with them that they don't own us, but we are co-creators of our inner world. And we're going into I already said the word choosing. And I think today in this episode, and also generally in every other episode that we talk about, and in healing in general, the word choosing is super fundamental, because actually that's what we are. We're becoming active choosers, active leaders. And instead of being controlled by our emotions, instead of having these sensations that fear or struggle or pain are jumping on top of us, eating us, swallowing us, and just we are becoming these painful sensations out of just reluctantly, being thrusted with these emotions. We are becoming active choosers and active leaders in our healing. And today, what I want to talk to you about is the act, and it's an act of choosing differently. Let me just take a second here, go back and explain this phrase, choose differently, which to me is fundamental in a healing process. And I feel very connected to this phrase, choose differently. As a self-healer, as a person that has been going in my own self-healing journey for way over a decade, this is a guidance that I have received from source energy, my own energy, God, Earth, Mother Earth, Gaia, call it as you will, okay? Source energy, the energy of all there is, that has been guiding me throughout my own self-healing process, giving me actual messages and practices and guidance to how to heal myself and how to help others heal. This phrase, choose differently, has been said to me so many times. And I mean, really, years on years on years of having this sentence drilled into my head. And for many years, I just really couldn't. It was very difficult to choose differently. And I'll talk about why in a second. But I kept having that strong feeling inside me of, I need to choose differently. I need to choose differently. I need to choose differently. But what does it even mean? Choose differently. It has two layers to it. Number one, choose something different. Something different from what you have been doing until now. Why? Choose something different because you are in your healing in order to become something different. You are in your healing in order to become a new version of yourself that you still weren't, never until now, you weren't this version. And so you need to choose a different path to walk, a different choice from the other choices that you've made so far. So this is layer number 1, choose differently, choose something different. Layer number 2 is choose differently, choose in a different way. Be guided with an inner force, choose with a different intention, choose with a different emotional, energetic state. Choose from a state of being that is different from the other states of being that you were until now. Because again, you are walking this path of healing in order to become something new. And so choose from that newness. Choose from that state of being, that energetic state of that something new, this new person, new being, new energy that you're moving forward with. Choose through there. And these are the 2 layers of choose differently. Choose something different and choose from a different state of being. When in fact, they both are reminders to the same thing. They are both layers to the same thing. And that is that our healing is actually a journey of transformation. It's a journey where we start in a certain point, and maybe this point contains a lot of pain and struggle and fear and challenging emotions that we might want to avoid. And this point is very powerful and strong in our mental habit, in our physical habit, in our bodies. And we start in this point, and then we're beginning to move towards a new place. Our healing is a journey of transformation towards a new way of being, a new personhood, a new energetic state, a new emotional state. And that is why I talk about happy healing, because we want to get to that state, or that's the state that we're working towards the happy healing part. And this journey of transformation, in order to transform, we must be able to endure a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of unfamiliar, because the transformation means becoming something that we were never before, which is unfamiliar. And so we must be able to dive into that unfamiliar, allow that unfamiliar to guide us, and allow that transformation to occur. But it's challenging, right? It's really hard to choose differently. And especially when we are being thrusted upon with very difficult and painful emotions. Why is that? Why is it so challenging? First of all, a little thing called habit, a powerful thing called habit, right? I don't know how old you are, but in my 30s now, I've been practicing same habits for around 30, 20, 10, whatever it is, years. That's a long time. For my physical form to remember a certain energetic state, for my mental cognitive behavior to remember a certain pattern of behavior, for my brain to have the same neural pathways, for my emotions to behave and act in a certain way. It's a long time that we've been practicing these habits. And so whatever it is we're trying to create, whichever transformation we're trying to create, it's gonna be outside of our comfort zone. It's gonna be outside of what we are used to, the habits that we're used to walking with. And it's gonna have a different flavor. It's gonna demand us to act in a way that is not very comfortable, and to just thrust ourselves outside of this comfort zone. And this sounds maybe a bit counterintuitive, because in healing and in spirituality, we often say the words, follow your bliss, or allow yourself to be guided by your emotions, or be guided by your comfort, or say yes to your wishes. all of these things. And that is very true, and it has a place. And I think that it has a place very early in the beginning of the healing, where you are disconnected with yourself and you shut yourself up and you tell yourself that you're bad and you diminish yourself and dismiss yourself. And then this act of self acceptance and allowing yourself to feel whatever you're feeling and allowing yourself to follow a nicer behavior towards yourself rather than self-dismissing and self-diminishing and self-silencing, that is very important. But that is more in the space where we are just making peace with who we are inside ourselves, in the more of the earlier stages of healing. But when we come to the more advanced stages of healing, the stages of true transformation, like just becoming something new, emerging from our cocoon and blossoming, the stages of happy healing, the stages of wanting to blossom and create a life of happiness and joy. That's where being strong comes into play. And I've talked about it in many other episodes, and you can feel free to go ahead and check this out. There is a crucial part in our healing where we are called to not so follow our bliss, to not so be comfortable, to not be always in the yes, yes, mushy, following my wishes mode, but to actually gather strength, gather stamina, gather power, and to shake ourselves out of the comfort zone, to rock our inner boat in order to arrive somewhere else. I've talked about it on different episodes, and excuse me, I'm sorry, but I don't remember right now the names of the episodes, so just, listen to all of them and see which one it is. But the truth is that there comes a time where in order to be the leaders of our healing, we must take a leadership role. We must assume the position, as I call it. We must assume the position of a leader. And a leader doesn't always chooses the easy choice. A leader chooses the choice that will lead the people, the community, to the place of desired, to the new place that's where he knows that the new stage of their evolution is. And that means coming out of comfort into action, into movement, into leadership, and getting to know something new, creating something new, becoming something new. So to choose differently in that essence means to become the leader of your healing, to become the active leader of your healing. And maybe that means that you won't be guided by your comfort for a while. Maybe that means that you'll be guided by something else, by this movement forward inside you that knows that there is a new way of being that you're moving forward towards, that knows that there is a new personhood, a new stage of your evolution, a new stage in your life, in your existence that you're moving towards forward. It's not easy. Maybe to some of you it is, and if it is, great, so happy for you. But for many of us, it's not easy. The habit wants to pull us back. The habit wants to make us stay in the place of habit. That's what habits do, right? But we can either have our habits make us, or we can make our habits. And that's actually a circle. So you create your habits and your habits create you. But like every circle, when you want to be in a different circle, at some point you need to find an edge or cut that circle and start a new one. And it takes the effort of circling again and again and again several times before it finds momentum. And so we need to be brave, we need to be consistent, we need to be active, we need to walk a path again and again and again, choosing again, choosing again, choosing again to form the new habit, to form the new energy, to form the momentum for the new energy, to become us. We need to choose differently. We need to choose something different and to choose from a new place of being, from a place of being that is coherent with the place that we want to go to. So if it's simplicity you're looking for, choose from a place of being that resonates simplicity. If it's joy that you're looking for, choose from a place of being that resonates joy. If it's stability, comfort, choose from that energetic space. And choose the action, the being, the habit that will lead you towards that new way of being. As I was writing for, preparing for recording this episode and just putting it out there and getting the juices going and listening to my thoughts on this, my process before I go to record an episode at the moment is I start with writing. And as I was writing, I felt, this is a rule of nature. This isn't something that I'm making up right here, right now. This isn't something that is unnatural. This is a rule of nature. If a tree or a plant or whatever, any kind of plant being wants to grow its branches, wants to grow its fruit, it must find the nutrition to do that. And it finds the nutrition through the roots, right? So if a tree wants to grow its branches, sorry for all this mumbling, but hey, I'm in it, I'm going on, I'm continuing with this mumbling sentence. If the tree wants to grow its branches, it must find the strength to go within the ground and absorb the nutrition from within the ground. And so this means that the tree must have an active effort in order to receive the nutrition it needs to grow. And it's the same thing. An active effort is needed for growth. Growth does not come from being inactive. It does not come from sitting aside and just waiting for growth to jump on me. Growth comes from being active. And so if you'd like to change your way of being and if you'd like to grow, be like the tree. Be active in finding your nutrition. Be active in your self-nourishment. And I think that we can look at the natural world for guidance and support on this on so many levels. And that's a great reminder that this is actually a rule of nature. That this is not something that we can't handle. This is not something that we're, inventing here and trying to figure out how to grow and how to change and how to evolve. This is evolution. This is the process of evolution, moving through discomfort, coming out of the other side of discomfort into your new stage of being through discomfort. And that discomfort is the different from what you've chosen until now. So choose differently, walk in a different path, be consistent and active, and be like the tree. Be like the God amazing fucking tree that does not ask questions, just knows that it needs to grow its branches because that's the movement that is happening inside it right now. And it knows intuitively, I need to be active and find my nutrition I need to be active to grow. I need to be active to grow. And if you can take a mantra from this episode, then let it be this. I am active in my growth. I am active on my growth. I am active in my growth. And with that, I feel that we are coming to the end of this episode. I've had such a beautiful, fun time recording this. I kind of don't want it to end, but that's the cycle of this episode. So I thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. If you did, please comment, share, give me a like, give me a heart. Just come and say hi on whichever platform you are so that we can keep this conversation going. And thank you for being here with me today. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, and go be active in your healing. Okay, bye.